When you're traveling to events, around the country, and you travel to a lot of events, as we said, what do you bring to an event? Like, is there a difference between if you're driving there, like this coming weekend, or flying? Are there different kits that you bring?
There is the we'll just talk about F3K. So there's a difference in the planes that we fly. There's some planes that are very big. There's some planes that are hand launch, and then there's other planes. We're just going to talk about F3K, which is hand launch planes. When I travel by car, there's a couple things that you have to have. Shade. You want shade unless you know somebody and they're going to be in an event and they're going to have a canopy for you, or there's a pavilion you can be under. But being under shade is an important thing because you're there for 48 hours basically, and it gets hot and you will dehydrate out. Yeah. A cooler. I haven't even talked about the planes yet. Let's just talk about the necessities. You need a chair. You need to sit down because you're going to want to run around, because I'm horrible about that, running around and wanting to talk to everybody. And then by the end of the weekend, I'm wore out. A chair, a cooler, a canopy, and then your gear. Talking about the gear, multiple planes if you can afford them, even if one's a used plane or a hand-me-down plane. You need multiple planes because you're always one accident away from having to get your second plane out or third plane. And some people have done that. I've seen myself go through two planes in a contest, and it's a horrible feeling, but you want to keep flying because you're having so much fun. So another plane makes for, having your other plane, having your planes trimmed so that you can go to your next plane and it's just like your other plane that you just lost, or you just switched up or whatever. So now that you have in storing your planes, you have to have something to store them in to travel with, because they do not do well. You can't just, like the glider that I can see behind you. It doesn't do well just being pushed into the car together. It's all the damage.
Take it apart. You want to put it in a box, away from the tables and chairs sliding around inside your car.
Right. You have to protect it. Even if it's in a cardboard box, that's fine. But, take it apart. Unless you have a big vehicle or something, take it apart, protect it, and they get damaged so easily just bumping them around. So now that you've got your box in your plane, then you have to have something to charge it with. You have to charge the battery. So I use, when I drive, some people just use their car battery. They have a charger, they open up their hood and they charge off their car battery, and that's fine. And some people have a dedicated charger and they use a bigger LiPo and they charge it. Some people bring a car battery, but some way to charge your plane, and some way, or a spare battery for your radio. The last thing you want to do is be walking out on the field and realize that your transmitter is about to die. It's panic mode. You instantly get freaked out. You're like, you don't know what to do because transmitters take some time. So either have a spare battery or a spare transmitter, or a way to charge your transmitter quickly, or a way to keep it charged throughout the day. So that would be, and then something to drink, something to eat if they're not providing food, so you can stay hydrated and stay, something to eat. And then the other thing would be, I would have a small assortment of glue, tape, stuff to fix a plane with, if, that's later on, but that would be later on. The bare necessities I've already mentioned is what you need. Yeah.
So what would you not bring out of that list if you're flying? So obviously you can't bring a canopy. You probably can't bring chairs. Yeah.
So when I fly to when I'm going to Phoenix, I would RC Groups for is an online forum, and they have a glider section, and you can, once you meet friends, you can have a friend and say, hey, do you mind if I sit into your canopy in Phoenix while I'm there? Because I can't take a canopy. And guys that are in town love to host guys that are out of town. Sometimes you can stay at their house, or stay with them in their RV, or camp with them. And you can't take a car battery with you, of course. So you're going to need something to charge with. So you can charge off your rental car if you wanted to, the battery on your rental car, or you could have somebody bring you a battery, or you could share a battery with them. That's part of the whole fun of making friends. They're glad to help you. When you travel by plane, it is really important that your case that your planes are in, because you have a considerable investment in this, can get through the airport safely. So many people have lost so much money in planes because TSA, the Transportation Safety Authorities, or whoever they are, will rifle through your box and break your tails, your wing tips, break your nose cones trying to get them apart. So that
they'll squeeze it.
Yeah. The
they'll
nicer,
bend it. Yeah.
Nicer your plane box is, and there's a lot of information out there on how to store your planes. The nicer your plane box is, and the easier for the TSA to open it up and look and sniff it with their sniffer, whatever that does, the safer your planes are going to be. So when you travel, you can't take big giant lipos with you. They're going to take them at the airport. But your transmitter case, I always take my transmitter case with me on the plane, and my planes always go in the belly. You can't take them on the plane; they're too big. And then I carry a backpack or roll around suitcase with my clothes and everything and some supplies, and then I have my transmitter case. And make sure you don't have screwdrivers, anything that's sharp. All that stuff needs to be with the planes in a container that won't rattle around and beat your planes up. And then everything else needs to be in your transmitter case. So you have to, when you fly to an event, you have to travel pretty light, and you have to have some help when you get there. Some people sometimes need to bring you something if you don't have it. Sometimes I've gone to events where I didn't have any aircraft batteries at all. I had to, call somebody and say, hey, could you bring me a couple of batteries for my planes? Because about 8 years ago, they weren't allowing lipos to fly at all. We were having a real hard time getting lipos, on the plane, even in the belly. They weren't allowing them, but now they are. So they've realized that they're not just catching on fire all the time.
Just to expand on what you said about storing your models when you're traveling, going on a plane. One of the things is just make sure that it's very, very easy for them to put it back together.
Right.
You can make a very strong box, but it can be so complicated that only you know how to put it together. They're not going to care. They're just going to throw everything in. They'll smash it all in. They'll close the box. That's it. So you have to make it really foolproof. Now, in the past, people were using Sport Tube 3. So people are still using it, right? If you have like a full-size wing, one-piece full-size wing that doesn't come apart, then you're probably going to be using a Sport Tube 3. And make sure you have a little box inside the Sport Tube, because otherwise it can collapse. But that's a really popular choice. It's easy to put together. Right now, there are a lot of planes out there that have removable like two-piece wings. And so you can use a shorter case. I'm using a Pelican. I think it's a 1720 or 1780. So it's just a bit over a meter long. And it's also very, very easy to take apart and put back together if they open it up to check.
And they're going to open it up and check. Don't think that they're not. They're going to open it up and
don't
check.
take your chances.
No,
they're more than likely to open it.
And the other thing is the wing bags that the plane comes in, and a little bit of bubble wrap goes a long way. In the beginning, we used to fill our boxes full of peanuts, and we would pack the whole plane in with peanuts, and we thought it was safer. Well, because they can't see into it, they're going to just rifle their hands into it. And you're going to lose a tail, you're going to lose wing tips and stuff like that because they can't see. So the easier they can see into it and realize that it's not a threat, the safer your planes are going to be. Because don't think they're not going to open up. They're going to open it up, and they're going to sniff your box. So, and that's part of traveling. Traveling to DLG events is one of the most fun things in the world. But
also the most frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
If you're flying.
Yeah, if you're flying, and when going through customs with your planes, really is a nightmare. So you really have to streamline your stuff down. I mean, I left China when I came to fly with you. I left China, and they found some tools in my bag that I'd forgotten about. I just shoved them in the front pocket of my backpack, and they found them, and I was like, "Oh wow, I forgot about them." And they're like, "What do you want to do with these? Do you want to ship them home?" And I was 20 minutes from getting on a plane. I was like, "No." And so they're like, "Okay," and they just threw them in the trash. I was like, "Oh, I had that screwdriver for like 10 years."
That's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. Right?
They find a battery. If they find anything they don't like, it's not going on the plane, and you're never gonna see it again. They're just gonna throw it away or whatever. So streamlining your stuff down and just taking the bare minimum of what you need and asking for help when you get to the field, like I need this or I need this, I need a way to charge, is going to be much easier than trying to take too much stuff. too much stuff is going to hinder you in the long run in traveling by air. Now, if you're driving to an event and you want to fill your whole truck up or your whole car up with everything you might think you need, including the kitchen sink, so be it. Do it. That's fine. But I found that less is sometimes more at an event. You can enjoy, an event more if you're not worrying about all this stuff. And I'm guilty of taking a lot of stuff,